Hi everyone. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's live session on Crochet beginners. And today, in the first session, we are going to learn how to make a single stitch. Single stitch. So let's begin with the slip knot. Okay, so this is the tail end, and I'm using t-shirt yarn so that you can understand how the stitch is going. So take your t-shirt yarn, this tail end, and wrap around your two fingers like this. Okay, hold this. Now take the second thread and insert it in between both of your two fingers. Now take the one loop which is on your forefinger and put it underneath the second finger. Now take your hook, insert into the hole and just tighten up. This forms a slip knot. Okay. Now hold how to hold this. Take your hook and you have this flat end. Use your fingers and hold it like this so that the hook shapes it. You should be facing this hook. Now coming to this end, hold this yarn working end with your three fingers and put your yarn over this point finger. After that, hold the knot using your middle and thumb. This is the easy way to hold your thread, right? Now insert your hook into the loop. In the first rule, you have to keep your needle in front of you and the working end behind of the needle, and always work from the front. This is the first step of crochet. Hold it with the hook. See, the hook should hold it here and pull it out from the previous hole. Pull it out of the equal length of the previous loop. This is the first chain. Is it clear? Now again from the front to back, hold the thread and pull it out through the hole. Now pull it up. Move your middle finger and thumb to the next loop so you can hold it. Never use the needle to work from behind. Always work from the front. Okay, this is the correct process. Don't use the needle from the back side, as the work will not look nice if you go from the behind. So put the needle at the front, hold it and take it out of the loop. This is the third chain, and after making few chains we'll see how to make a single stitch. I'm making a little bit loose so that the stitches will appear clear for you guys. Here is my basic chain. I guess it is clear and visible to all of you. It's the basic chain, right? Now we are going to a single stitch. Remember one thing, for single stitch, we have to leave one chain from the hook, and if this is the hook, this is the first chain from the hook. First chain from the hook. So we are going to leave this particular chain and start working from the second chain. So if you can see the hole here, insert your hook into the hole, grab the yarn, take it out to the height of your previous loop. Now you have two loops on the hook. Now grab the yarn and pull it out from both the loops at the end. So this stitch is called single stitch. Okay, now continue performing the single stitch throughout this base chain. Just check it out here. This is the first hole and we have already worked in it after leaving the first chain from the hook. And this is the second chain from the hook. So insert your hook into this hole, grab the yarn, pull it out. Now again you have two loops on the hook, grab the yarn and come out through the loops. This is the second stitch. This is first one and this is the second one. Now going to the third one. Here this one is the third chain. Insert the hook, get the yarn out, now yarn over and pull through both the loops. This is the third stitch and continue performing the single stitch throughout the first line. Got it? It's very simple stitch which you can follow with the t-shirt yarn using this stitch or a double stitch. You can even make doormat out of it. Now insert the hook, grab the yarn, pull it out and perform a stitch. And this is the last stitch. So I'm inserting the hook into it and performing the last single stitch. See, this completes the row 1 for our first row of our single crochet. Single crochet called as a single stitch, and this is the back side of it. This is the front side. Now let's go to the next row, that is the row 2, and how to stitch from front to back. Okay, and as I've said, one stitch for single stitch. So for each row we are going to the next row, we have to make one chain. If you remember previously, we have left one chain from the hook, and that's the same another chain we are making here to leave it from the hook, and this chain also gives us the height of our row. Okay, now going to the next row. Hi Shruti rocks. Is this the half double crochet? No, this one is a single crochet. This is a single stitch or single crochet, we call it in other terms. Half double crochet, we are going to learn it in this third tutorial. This is the first tutorial, so we are going with the single stitch for today. Now we're going to see how to make row 2, and if you remember, we have already made one chain and we have made our stitch flip over, that is front is made back, and this is the first hole in the first row, right? This is the first stitch. Now we are going to insert the hook through both the loops. See, here we will have two wings for each stitch. Have a closer look. We will have two wings. Got it? Now for few stitches we are going to stitch in the front V, and for few we are going to go with the back V according to the pattern. But now as we are going to stitch in a plain way, we are going to insert our hook into both the loops. See, the V should appear like this. Okay, again adjust the loop, insert your hook into first hole, take the yarn, pull it out and perform a single stitch. And this is the first stitch in your row 2. Okay, so continue performing this single stitch. Right, going to the next hole, pull it out, and we have two loops on the hook, so grab the yarn and come through both the loops, and here it's the next hole, pull it out, grab the yarn and come out of the two loops. This is just a simple single stitch. So after this row completes, we shall see how to make increase in single stitches. See, now we have come to an end in our first row. Never leave this last one. People mostly tend to leave this one. Make sure you do not leave this last hole as well, because what happens is if you leave this part, slowly as the work progresses, your shawl will take this shape of a trapezium, not square. Okay, see, now it will come as a plain shape. Got it? This is the second row as we have done now. I'm stretching out a little bit so that you can have a clear idea on what and how the stitch was made. Right, now going to the third row again, what we have to do is make a chain, get some height, turn your work from front to back and continue to perform a single stitch. Insert the hook into hole, get the yarn and single stitch. Now we are going to see how to increase in terms of single stitch. This means we have to perform 2 or 3 single stitches in each single stitch in the previous row. Let us suppose we are performing an increase in the next coming stitch. So insert the hook into the hole, Get the yarn, perform a single stitch, hold it here, and perform the same single stitch into the same hole another time. This is the second single stitch in the same hole. We are getting two stitches for one stitch in the previous line, and this is called increase. Okay, and according to the pattern, you can even perform 3 to 5 or even 6 stitches into the same stitch as you need. Okay, so for me, I'm just doing one increase here. Now I'm performing only single stitch. Got it? And now again increase. See here, this is the first single stitch into the stitch, and this one is the second one. Here is an increase. This is one stitch and two stitches going into the same hole. So this one we call it as a increase. Okay. Now let us see how to decrease a stitch. Decrease means we are going to join two stitches together. Two single stitches together, we call it as a decrease. So let us see, this is a little bit typical one. We have one loop on the hook. Now we have to see what are the stitches we are going to join. Let us suppose I am going to join the first and second stitches from the hook. So insert the hook into the first, get the yarn up, hold the two loops on the hook, hold both together. Now insert the hook into the second yarn, second stitch, get the yarn. This makes 3 loops on the hook. Now hold all the 3, grab the yarn and pull out of all the 3 stitches. This we call it as a decrease. Okay, joining 2 single crochet together. Here we have 2 stitches, joining it as a single stitch here. And I'm going to perform a single stitch again. So this is a single stitch. Going to do a decrease now. So, and again, decrease can also be done from 2, 3 or 4 or 5 stitches according to the pattern. Now I'm joining the last 3 stitches together. See, I have 3 stitches here, 1, 2 and 3, and now I'm going to join all the 3 stitches with one stitch. This is called decrease or single crochet decrease together. 3 single crochets decreases to 1. So this is the first one, hold it. This is the second one, hold it, and finally this is the third one. Number of hooks on the loop goes to 4 as I am trying to decrease 3 stitches. If I am decreasing only 2 stitches, there will be only 3 loops. So now take the yarn on the hook and pull it out through all the 4 loops at a time. Okay. Is it visible? Here is an increase, here is an increase, here it is a decrease, and here it is another decrease. The more chains you are going to decrease, the smaller will be the work, and the number of increases, the number of chains on the next row will also be increased. I think I'm making it clear to all of you guys. Now let's start a small project using this same single stitch. Okay. Now that we have worked from front to back, now let's see how to do the same single stitch in a circular pattern. Okay, so let us start again with a slip knot, right? Now keeping the first chain as a bigger one because I wanted to work a circle around this in the first chain itself. So make chain 1 and chain 2 as I'm going with only single stitch. Now slip the first chain from the hook, insert your hook into the first chain, get the yarn. We have 2 loops on the hook and perform a single stitch and make 10 of those single stitches into the same hole. Okay, and this is the second one, third one, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, so after making 10 single stitches, this is my baseline. Okay, so now what are we going to do to close this first row? And here is the first stitch. So insert your hook into the first stitch, grab the yarn and perform a slip stitch. That's nothing but joining these 2 stitches together. Here is the first round. Okay, now going to the second row, similar to the flat project, you have to chain 1 and work a single crochet into this first chain in the first row. Now in a circular previously it's a flat project, so the number of stitches in the first row should match with the number of stitches in the second row, but in the circular project the baseline will be the smaller one and the next rows will be growing bigger. So what we have to do is we have to add few increases from time to time. Okay, so after the first stitch is completed, now we are going to perform 2 single crochet in each and every single stitch. So insert the hook, get the yarn and this first single stitch and perform the second single stitch now. This is an increase. We are working 2 single stitches into the same stitch. Continue performing this increase. This is the first one. This is the second one. Going to the third one. This is the first and the second. Are we clear so far? Here is the next stitch. This is the first and the second. Okay, continue working, guys. Do not miss any single stitch in the baseline because it will create some gaps in your work and it will not look nice. At the end, the pattern will get ruined and the shape will be out. Right? See, this is how the pattern gets moving. You can also even weave them as tea coasters or doormats or baskets. These will be really heat repellent. You can use them as hot coasters, hot holders as well. is Sarita. Thanks for confirmation, dear. Now, here we have come to the last stitch. So, again, here we have to make a increase, and finally, our second row is completed. So, what we have to do is again slip stitch into the first stitch. Okay, slip stitch is nothing but, see once again, we have a first stitch here. So insert the hook into this, get the yarn and pull through the previous loop in the hook. That's just simple slip stitch. Okay, right, that's the second row. Now going to the third row, again we have to make a single chain for the height. Now onwards, what we have to do is there will be no particular pattern. Just you have to check with whether the stitch is getting closer or the more number of gaps are getting or what. So just simply work for a single stitch according to the size and height. I am going to stitch one single stitch and one increase, and I guess that should be fine. This is the single stitch, and now I am going to work for increase. This is the first stitch and this is going to be the second stitch, and this is increase. This is increase here. Now single stitch. Now increase in single stitch. Here is an increase and again a single stitch. Again I increase. Here is another single stitch. And another increase. See how the shape is taking out? In single stitch. Increase. Again a single stitch. Another increase. Stretch out a bit. If you feel the stitches are too close and you are not able to see the next stitch, you can just simply stretch them. Again single stitch, another increase, continue the pattern until you reach the beginning stage. Again a single stitch and increase. Again a single stitch and I come to the first stitch. So finally I'm closing my third row using a slip stitch. And again slip stitch is nothing but inserting the hook into the first stitch, Get the yarn through all the loops of the hook at once. Finally, after completing the pattern, what we have to do with this tail end? Simply run this tail end through the previous stitches. As long as you can manage, you can manage. And now we can simply cut off this tail end. Right? Your simple coaster mat is ready now, and you can even use a normal wool or a thread or anything of that kind. Here you can use normal wool as well. Thank you so much guys for attending today's live session. Hope you all enjoyed this tutorial with me and you have learned the single stitch along with increase and decrease. Tomorrow we are going to see how to perform a double stitch. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye.